Am I the asshole for refusing to pay grandparents back for a car that wrecked shortly after purchasel? This happened a few years ago, but I ponder on it sometimes and would like the internet's opinion. I was 27, female at the time and pregnant with my second child. My husband's grandparents came to us and offered their old van. It had been largely unused for years and they were just going to junk it. We did have a car, but a second one would help a lot, so we said yes. They asked just under $1,000 for it. I was honestly taken off guard by this. It was a very old car and they said they were just going to junk it otherwise. When I asked about the price, the reason they gave was, "You don't get something for nothing." They lowered the price by a couple hundred, so we accepted. Paid half with a promise to pay each month until it was paid off. We didn't have much money and were moving apartments, on top of the new baby. But we made it work. They gave us the paperwork and a rundown on the condition of the car. We got everything licensed and inspected and it was good to go. A couple months later, I was driving my child to an appointment with the new baby in the car. It's a hot summer day and I'm driving on the freeway. Suddenly, both my rear tires exploded. The car spun out and rammed into the barrier. It could have been so much worse, but my kids were unhurt and I had minor injuries. After everything was settled at the hospital, the destroyed car was taken away and inspected. It was then that we were told the tires on the car were just about 20 years old. I was appalled. I remember specifically asking grandparents about the tires, and were told they were basically new. When the car was initially inspected, they said everything was fine. I needed surgery and our life really took a bad turn. I was already suffering from PPD after my baby's birth and our family was suffering. During this time, we suspended most of our bills, including payments to grandparents. No one really said anything and nothing happened for a couple months, but then we hosted a gathering for my baby's religious blessing and my husband's grandparents attended. Everything was going all right until about halfway through. I was chatting and started talking with GP. They told me the blessing was beautiful and that I looked good. After I thanked them, they asked if there was a problem with the payments on the car. I was shocked. Explained that we couldn't pay with everything going on, but also maybe they shouldn't expect any more payments. You can imagine how that went. They brought up the agreement, but I pointed out their dishonesty on the tires, and that's what caused the crash in the first place. They were quiet and I was getting upset, so I told them we'd discuss it later, and the party ended in distress. They never even asked how I was doing. Had just stated that I looked well. I know it was probably an honest mistake. They're old, and the tires looked new, so they had no reason to think the tires were bad. But also, after that gathering and time passes, when I confronted them on if they needed the money for the car, they denied needing it and sustained we should pay them on principle. They are well settled financially and we are struggling with literal pennies in my account. After that, I was done. I told them we would not pay them back for a dangerous van that could have killed me and my 2 children. They seemed more concerned with principle than our safety, and if they were truly in need of financial help, then they needed to share details and then we could talk more. But my family was in serious need, and don't talk to us about it again. They didn't have much to say after that, but they did drop it. We were never close to them to begin with, and this has certainly driven a wedge. They're pleasant at family gatherings, but we don't interact with them outside those 2 gatherings a year. I don't feel bad about refusing to pay the rest of the van. Honestly, we're still struggling horribly and that crash was the catalyst. Though I wonder occasionally if I was in the wrong. It certainly didn't feel good. TLDR. Grandparents-in-law sold us an old van and were not forthcoming on the tires condition. After a crash caused by the tires, they still requested the remaining payment, despite denying any need for the money. I refused to pay because we were financially drowning. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole that's messed up that your grandparents still expected you to pay off a car that literally almost killed you and their grandchildren. Info. Who inspected the car? I understand that your grandparents might have forgotten or been mistaken, but you said the car passed inspection? With 20-year-old tires? Not the asshole. I can't believe some people think you're the Firstly, the most important point, they were going to scrap it. Then they made you pay, basically saying it's teaching you life lessons, which is BS. Then after something went wrong on it, which could have been deadly, they had the cheek to ask for more money. On top of all that, they are fine for money and you are not. This is not how family is supposed to treat you. You are absolutely in the right. I'm gonna get downvoted, but you are the asshole. The inspection you had on the van should have caught the van's old tires. Both financial situations set aside, You agreed to pay an amount for the van and you defaulted on that agreement. You say you could have made the payments if their financial situation was similar to yours, but decided against it because they're more well off than you are, which is not a valid reason to stop paying for something. I'm not calling them saints and understand your situation is not the best, but a deal is a deal and you broke the deal. Not the asshole. Strange lack of empathy, to be honest. It's not their fault the tires burst, but I wouldn't be paying more for a car that was totaled because it was sold in defective condition. You should sue the inspector and tell your grandparents that when that money comes through, you can pay them the rest of their money. Not the asshole, you bought the car under the impression that the tires were new. The tires were not new and that caused serious mental and physical injury as well as financial hardship. The agreement they are so obsessed with is worthless because they lied. They saw the chance to squeeze some extra money out of something they were going to throw away and got greedy after their duplicity nearly killed their granddaughter-in-law and great-grandkids. Fuck them. Not the asshole. They were dishonest about a serious safety concern that could have ended up killing you and your children, their grandchildren. It's honestly confusing to me on why they didn't apologize to you. Not the asshole. I honestly wonder why a lot of people even refer to other people as family when they treat them this way. Am I the asshole for telling my pregnant cousin she is my sister and making her divorce her husband in doing so? I, 25 female, and my cousin, 25 female, have been very close. Adding to that, we look very much alike, which is very obvious since most of our family has brown, red hair, while we both are blonde. Me and my cousin got married at roughly the same time. Both of our husbands are very close friends to each other, 29 and 27. In her pregnancy we found out that we are both RH. After some time I found out that my uncle is RH+, which means that he cannot be the father. I told my parents, who then told me that she is actually my twin sister and that she was given to my uncle and aunt who raised her as their own since my aunt is infertile, or thought to be, after an accident. It is fairly common in our culture to give a child to an infertile sibling. I was very conflicted after finding this out and told my husband, who then supposedly accidentally told my cousin's husband. Well, last week after her doing some research on the rhesus factor, her husband is RH+, she also found out that her parents can't be her parents. She came to me crying and I told her everything. Shocked at everyone knowing but her and hurt by the betrayal of her husband. She asked her husband for a divorce and has ceased any contact with me. I don't know why I told her. I even had to promise my parents and my aunt and uncle to never tell her. Who also won't talk to me. Everyone is blaming me and my brother-in-law is absolutely devastated. So am I the asshole? And #X200B. Edit. Neither of our birthdays are real. I was born in May, she was in June. We both knew that, since we use another calendar in our country, so we literally just celebrated some random day. Apparently we were both born on May 3rd. Also it could be about blood type for my cousin. I found out, through the RH stuff, which was a big topic in my family for some time. She just randomly one day came to me telling me her father can not be her father. I just assumed it was because of her looking about the RH thing because she talked a lot about it. I also think her husband was leading her into the direction of her finding out, since he must have known how RH things work. He is a doctor. My parents also obviously did not want to give away her child, but my aunt really begged for a child. She was in treatment and threatened suicide. At first my aunt was just watching us. Eventually she became very attached to us and asked my mother to keep one to watch. My aunt loved us both, but I always cried when my mom wasn't close. My sister didn't, so she eventually just had her. My mom was upset, but my cousin really didn't leave home. We lived in the same house back then, and now coming to the West we don't. It wasn't her taking a child, it was a sneaking process. Also my cousin's sister is staying at my brother's house with his wife and kids. He lives kind of far away and my brother's wife and my cousin have been very close. She has not contacted anyone, but her husband seems better. I guess they are talking secretly. My cousin is also pregnant with twins, they run in the family. I don't know how she is feeling, since after our conversation she excused herself to the bathroom and just left. She messaged me today saying, she still loves me but she cannot talk to anyone, especially her and her parents. My parents and her parents refuse to talk to me. I feel very shitty about all of this, especially since it was really bad timing. Update. My cousin's sister just told me a lot more people knew than we thought. My grandparents, my parents' uncles, aunts, etc. It was an open secret. She also thought I must have known for longer. I did not, but she does not believe me. Not the asshole. Her parents are, for not telling her as a child. So are your parents for not telling you either. Not the asshole, and it's almost laughable at how obvious this current outcome is. Your parents had twins, blonde twins, and they all just thought no one would freaking notice the only two blonde girls in the family have the same birthday? Well, thank God they also didn't accidentally sign you up for the same American summer camp as kids. You are the asshole. Everyone but your sister. I am adopted. I found letters my birth mother sent my mom. I found old pictures. And it hurt knowing they lived in the same town as me until I was 14. I love my parents, they were amazing. But people get really selfish with adoption. And I am not even mad about it, just hurt that all the relationships I might have had were not allowed to happen. You knew you had a twin and should have told her the moment you found out. The first fucking moment. And you should have told her because she is a human being who deserves to know the truth about her birth. The rest of the parents and aunties and uncles don't get to pretend you betrayed their trust, when you all betrayed that poor woman. Everyone sucks here because who the heck just gives away children? How does that go? I have 2 twin babies, but you don't have any, so here have one of my children? How is that a thing? No assholes here. However, I don't get why you told other people and not her. I'm not convinced that this is true. However, you do know that Rh+V parents can have a Rh+V child, 2 Rh+V parents can't have a Rh+V child, but it doesn't work the other way around. That is beside the point if your parents admitted that she is biologically their child. I don't understand. What did her husband do? The poor woman has been lied to her entire life by the people she loved. She is wrong to blame you in particular, or her husband for that matter, but all of you have fundamentally betrayed her trust and you need not expect to hear from her again anytime soon. What you should have done is insist that your parents and her parents tell her the truth rather than you. But instead you made this about you, not her, and now you are paying the price. She is the real victim here. I don't think she is handling it well, but I have never had my entire family turn out to be liars, so I'm not rushing to that judgment as quickly as I am for the rest of you. Why didn't you tell her when you found out? Why keep it a secret? I won't judge your family for a cultural practice I know nothing about, but I will judge them for keeping it a secret for so long. If I were her, I'd feel extremely betrayed. Am I the asshole for outing my ex about knowing I sell feet pics? I've been selling online foot content since I was 18. I met my ex at 22, and was upfront and honest. He said that it wasn't a deal breaker since I planned to stop after I got my master's degree. Fast forward to 25, I get pregnant and we have a baby, so I put finishing my degree on hold for a year. Then COVID hit a few months before I finish my degree, and he loses his job. I tell him that I think I should keep selling content until he can get another job, and then once we're more stable I'll get a career in my field. He agrees and admits he was going to ask but didn't want me to feel pressured. Some months I make over $6,000, so we have a huge savings and even manage to get a second car. He's struggling to find a job, but I'm making enough so it's fine. One of his friends subbed to me. I didn't know who it was, and he became a biggest tipper. My ex finds out and deletes all my content off my computer and camera, and deleted all my profiles. I didn't know and started freaking out, crying, trying to find numbers to call to restore them, etc. Then he tells me he told a friend about my site and that friend has paid $2,000 plus in the last 3 months on me. We get into a huge fight because he's still not working, and now I have to start all over again. We lose our second car after 6 months since now I'm lucky to make $3,000. Our savings are gone because he keeps stealing from me. We end up fighting again and I leave him after he blames me for him deleting everything. He runs and tells all his family that he found out I was a SWER and left me, and he needs their help to get our baby back. His family starts bombarding me, calling me names, and basically saying they'll make it so someone as disgusting as me can't ever see my baby again. After a few months of this, I just release screenshots dating back to 2018 of him talking about my many vids and other sites I used to sell on. His family freaks out, and now he's disowned. Personally, I think that it's his fault. My family is aware of what I do and so are my friends. They respect that it's work and have nothing to do with it. He told his friends, some of who he knows have hit on me, and deleted the way that I was keeping us clothed and fed when he couldn't work out of jealousy, then told his family a lie that I could prove was false. But his friends and some mutuals think that I could have explained without being so blunt with the screenshots. I feel bad his family won't speak to him because they feel used, but I don't think it's my fault. Also, I literally sell feet stuff and the most I do is bra and panties. I could see him being jealous if I was doing traditional SW, but I wasn't. Edit. I just realized this might be relevant, but I never kept him from seeing our baby. He's literally never contacted me or came to my new place, even though I let him know the address, to see either of us. He just immediately went to his family with his fake sob story. He also refused to sign the birth certificate and refused a paternity test because he said he didn't want to be stuck paying child support. I know I should have dipped then, but I was in love. Edit 2. You can totally DM me. I love helping because it's so hard to start off, and I'm lucky to have a decade of knowledge to share. Edit 3. Okay, wow. I love helping, but I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. I'm making a separate post on my profile with a ton of tips and tricks, so please go check that out so I can catch up on my 500 plus DMs. Lol. Full not the asshole. I mean, he stole from you, lied about you and wanted the baby taken away? Heck no. You just told the truth to protect yourself. If my wife made $6K a month selling feet pics, I would personally take some kind of cosmetic courses on foot care, so I could give her pedicures and shit at home. They would be the geese that laid the golden eggs. I wouldn't let her go to the beach without those little swim shoes. We would have special foot lotion. This man is the dumbest fucker I've ever heard of. If the Louvre opened a wing for dumb fucks, we would hang him there. Not the asshole. It's wild to me that you can make that much money selling pics of your feet. People are weird. But more power to you. Good luck raising your child without that jerk in your life. Not the asshole. He's an ass for sure. Not the asshole. Sue for paternity testing and support. Make him accountable as a father to your child. Not the asshole. He basically destroyed your business. How is what he did any different than going into a store and breaking everything? And he did it knowing he has a baby to support. Total complete awe. To answer the question you asked. Not the asshole. To answer the question you didn't ask. Please formally establish paternity and get an order for child support because it's not for you, it's for the health and well-being of your child. It costs a lot to raise a little human into an adult and they should be supported financially by both parents. Wow, he's a total DCK head. What's that saying I keep seeing on Reddit? Play bitch games, win bitch prizes? Yeah, you are not the asshole. I hope you manage to get back on your feet and he has no further access to your accounts and can't steal from you anymore. Not the asshole. He knew what you did for money and was fine till his buddy admitted to finding your pics and paying you. That was his choice to make and now live with. He should have known better than to lie to his parents when he should have known you had full proof of everything he agreed to and was okay with. Again, that is on him. Am I the asshole for hiding my kitchen knife? Repost because I wrote am I the asshole instead of AITA. I, 25F, moved into a new dorm a few weeks ago and met my two new roommates. Let's call them Julia and Hannah. Now Julia isn't great when it comes to doing her dished. She has a habit of leaving all her stuff in the sink, sometimes for days, and leaving her cutting boards full of leftovers on the counter. We have talked to her several times about how this has given us problems with flies and she promises to be better but never does. She also never bought kitchen knife. Due to her often running out of clean dishes, and not owning certain items, she has started using our stuff, especially my knives and cutting boards since I have the top drawer and I guess it's easier. The problem I have with this is that she never cleans it either and I have to scrub away her leftovers when I need to use it. I have told her several times that she needs to stop stealing my things. The last time we talked I was a bit snappy with her and she started to cry and told me that she can't afford to buy a good knife due to all her money going towards food and rent. I felt guilty for losing my temper and perhaps naively asked her to at least clean them after she used them. Last weekend was my birthday, so I went on a small road trip with my friends. When I came back on Monday I found all of my things covered in dry chocolate. I think Julia might have baked. This was my boiling point. I angrily scrubbed it off. And then I just put everything in my room. I have since then bought a plastic box. However, Julia is furious at me. She texted me and asked me where my things were, and when I answered that they would be kept in my room from now on, she became furious. She has angrily banged on my door several times while screaming about how I am killing her by letting her starve. She blew up my phone with angry text until I blocked her. Now she is taking Hannah's stuff and she called me an asshole for creating a hostile living situation and is telling me to apologize, but my things back and deal with it until Christmas break. I am starting to feel really guilty for causing this drama and thinking that I really overreacted. Am I the asshole here? Edit 1. Sorry for not including ages. Hannah is 19 and Julie is 22. People are asking if this is the US and no, it is Ireland, but a very quick Google search led me to a version of the dollar store and other cheap knives. Thank you so much to everyone who has commented. I never imagined that it would blow up like this. I was worried that I'd done something very petty in my anger, but reading so many people tell me otherwise has made me confident in my decision. So thank you. A lot of people has suggested I contact my RAW, and right now I have emailed my version of that and added screenshot of her texts. I have seen that a few rooms in my students' village are empty, so hopefully I can get one. But they don't open their office until Monday, so I don't expect an answer. Until then I will buy myself a new knife after reading that she could have destroyed my old one. Still deciding if I should give it to Julia. I will update on Monday if I get a new room. Not the asshole. If your roommate can afford chocolate, she can afford a cheap knife. Not the asshole. The Dollar Tree sells usable knives that will cut her food and not break her budget. Yay, your roommate is 100% ta. I had a similar situation at uni, and reacted the same way. Not the asshole in the slightest. You warned her and she didn't listen. You are not causing any drama. She could always buy a knife. Is this for real? Not the asshole, and your roommate needs to grow up. If not, even maybe a psychologist. Not the asshole, you are roommates. That does not entitle her to use your stuff whenever she wants. Especially cause she is rude and disrespectful towards it, by not cleaning. Not only does she force you to clean up after her, she could also be damaging your knife if she leaves stuff on the blade for a long period of time. That being said, I think you and the roommates need to sit down and have a serious conversation to come up with a solution. Because this is not a good environment to live in. Maybe you guys can all throw in some money for some common utensils. You can literally buy knives for a $1 at the dollar store. And then have a hard rule of whoever uses the kitchen needs to clean up everything within the hour, no exceptions. Not the asshole. That's basic common decency, to give back something which belongs to someone else in the same condition it was before. One time could have been a mistake, but this cleaning issue is something that has been going on for a while and was the subject of many discussions. She clearly does not respect your opinion nor your belongings, so she does not deserve to have access to those. Not the asshole. There would not be a problem if the roommate cleaned up after cooking. If she cannot afford a knife, can she get a PT job or add an extra few hours if she already has a job? Even if she had a knife, she would still need to clean it. The other roommate needs to leave you alone. You are not the problem. You are reacting to the problem. The problem needs to be solved.